Yo boys, what's going on? Jackson here from Rune TCG, and today I am super excited again to show you guys all the new cards that will be coming in the white starter deck. I won't be telling you how much of it is in the starter deck or any of that, but I will be going over at least those 4 minions that you saw me drawing in the last video, and also some other cards that are going to be exclusive to the starter deck. So, before I get into it, please make sure to like and subscribe to the video. The support on that last speed art video was insane, and so I'll probably do the other, I'll do a black speed art video as well. But also, if you want to support me more than just subscribing and watching the videos all the way to the end, you can always make sure to check out the first link in the description. You can go to the Game Crafter, you can buy packs and stuff. That really helps support me, and it gives you a fun thing to do. Because opening, who doesn't like to open packs, man? I love opening my own packs, and especially since, you know, I spent so much time making them because it's just so fun. But enough of me rambling, let's just get on to the video, because the first card I want to show you guys is Chanapa Ego. He's really cool, I think. He's the first minion that oh no, not the first one, but I did draw him in the speed art video, and Chinampa is the name of the archetype that will be present in the starter deck. And if you didn't know, the way I like to make starter decks, I like to make each starter deck have their own exclusive archetype that you can only really get if you buy the starter deck. And I think that just kind of adds to the exclusivity of that starter deck. And so, Chinampas, I think, are pretty interesting. I'm not sure if they're overpowered yet. I haven't really done much playtesting. I will be doing it more playtesting soon. But always keep in mind that all these stats and all these abilities and stuff are subject to change until they are released, in full. So, anyways, Chinampa Ego. When played, draw a card from your main deck. When attacked, if this minion is not killed by the attack, you may put this minion back into your hand and discard all other cards attached to it. Basically, this card allows you to draw tons of cards if you can tank and attack and stuff. So I really like Chanpa Ego. I think it's a pretty cool card, and you have to one-shot it for it to be killed. So that's really cool, I think. You'll kind of see where this ties into the strategy of Chinampas. So, the next card I want to show you is Chinampa Pacqua. It has 65 health, 120 attack. So it actually doesn't have that great of a stats for a 2-cost minion, but its abilities where it can get crazy. It says, this minion gains 15 attack for every 2 cards in your hand. That's pretty good, especially since you already have 1 card, Chanpa Ego, who will help boost the amount of cards in your hand. And Chinampa Pacqua can get so much attack. I feel like he could be one-shotting 4-cost minions, and that's really, really strong. And that's something that I don't really see a lot of other minions and starter decks being able to do. So, Chanpa Pacqua, under the right conditions, can be pretty good. So I really like the design of this card. Next, we'll be moving on to a card that's new, but I didn't draw in the speed art video. Chinampa Power Lily. This is a really interesting card. I like the way I designed it. It's Chinampa Power Lily, so it's a spell. And then it says, draw and reveal 3 cards to your opponent, then put them into your hand. So, if you didn't know about Rune TCG, drawing cards is a pretty, kind of coveted thing. And so, you only ever really can draw 2 cards without consequences. So that's cards like Freshless Treasure Chest that only ever draw 2 cards, and that's it. And those cards are still staples in the game. And so Chinampa Power Lily draws 3, which is pretty insane, but you have to reveal them to your opponent. But that doesn't matter sometimes. But you'll see in the Chinampa strategy, drawing cards is a huge aspect of their kind of archetype. And so that's why I really like this card, because it has a drawback, but it's still a really good draw power. And I think it might be used in other decks and stuff, if you can get your hands on it. So Chinampa Power Lily, really cool card. Next, we will be going over one of my favorite artworks I've done for a starter deck, Chanampakia. 180 health, 90 attack, 3-cost minion. This card, I think, could be broken, but I also think it's pretty fair, actually. So it doesn't have that great of stats, again, for a 3-cost, but you'll see its ability is amazing. This minion is not affected by abilities, spells, and traps. Just like that. You can't, like, one-shot it with spells and stuff, or trap it away. So you have to deal with it with a minion, basically. Or environments, I guess. Or you can always, this ability doesn't matter all that much if you have, like, an item that removes abilities or an environment that removes abilities, because then you can use all those, like, abilities, spells, and traps still. So Chanampakia does have counterplay like that way. But its second part of its ability is really cool. It says, when attacked for the first time, this minion takes half damage, and on your next turn, this minion will do 200 damage when attacking. It doesn't say when attacking, but it's kind of implied. So Chanampakia has really cool first-time ability because, first of all, you can't you can't bring this card back with like reincarnation, and like expect this ability to do the same thing again because it's not the first time it's been attacked. So that's kind of like I guess more intricate detail of Rune TCG, but yeah, that's true. So this card can be really strong because on paper he has 360 health for the first hit. And if you attack him, he does 200 damage on the next attack, which is insane. That's like, that's so much health for a 3-cost minion, and that's where he kind of gets worth it. And also I really like his artwork, so that's why that's part of the reason I make him so strong. And so he doesn't really have a lot to do with the Chinampa archetype, but I think he's a pretty good stall-y person you can just put in your active minion slot, and especially for Chinampas because they kind of revolve around just getting the biggest hand possible. And so you just want to put this minion up as your active minion, and then you just kind of sit there because your opponent doesn't want to attack it, obviously, and take a huge hit back. So Chanampakia, very cool. Next, I'm going to be showing you another card that I was not featured in the speed art video, Chinampa Royal Scepter. It's an item card, which is also pretty important because some cards in this archetype can be kind of ruined by items. So having another item in the archetype means you can replace the items that are attached to it. So Chinampa Royal Scepter, pretty cool in that regard. And then also, it says, when the minion this item is attached to attacks, you may either search your deck for a card and put it in your hand, or you may put a card from your discard pile into your hand. So, if you can get multiple attacks off with this, it doesn't even matter if you're doing a lot of damage. You can be searching out your deck for cards that are going to be really useful, or you can be cycling cards through your discard pile, which is also very strong. So, Chinampa Royal Scepter, I expect to see play, not just in Chinampa, or like in the starter deck. Next is the final new card for the starter deck, and I'm really proud of this one. I think this adds a whole new dynamic to the game, and that's what I kind of like to do with starter decks. I think each starter deck should have at least one new kind of, not mechanic maybe, but like a new aspect to the game that kind of makes that starter deck worth buying because you can't get these cards any other way. So, final card is the boss, Chinampa Pacqua. And if you watch the speed art video, you would know the artwork at least. You wouldn't really know what they do. But Chinampa Pacqua has 190 health and attack, and that's not very good for a 4-cost. It's okay, but its ability is where it shines. While this minion is in your active slot, if you have 12 or more cards in your hand, gain 4 points. It's once per turn, obviously. And Chinampa Pacqua is very strong in that regard. This is kind of where the whole strategy revolves around, right? So you see, you want to be drawing all these cards, so in the end game, you can stick your Chinampa Pacqua down in your active slot and then gain 4 points. And in 4 turns, you win the game. So that's really strong. That's the equivalent of killing a 4-cost minion every single turn, and that's so good. But you do have to get a lot of stuff up for that to even happen. So that's kind of where this whole white starter deck is going to come from. And I think this is a really cool card. And so let me now show you some cards that you might want to add to the starter deck if you buy it. Because I feel like they might be able to help you out a little bit. So first up, we have a card called Greedy Dice. It's a spell, And it's a really cool card added in set 3 that basically says, roll a dice. If you roll a 1 or 2, you draw 1 card. If you rolled a 3 or 4, you draw 2 cards. And if you rolled a 5 or a 6, you draw 3 cards. So here again, there's a way to draw 3 cards, which is just amazing, but it has the downside that you could always draw 1 or 2. So Greedy Dice is a really cool, like, designed card. Another cool card is Appends. It's a minion, but it's basically the same thing as Fester's Treasure Chest. Also added in set 3. It says, when played, draw 2 cards. But it adds a tanky minion that you can just sit on your field for a long. So, Panda's a pretty cool card. I did have a few other cards. 2 other cards here that I wanted to show you. First one is Training Dummy. Set 2 cards, spell, but has really interesting ability. 65 health, which is... It's kind of weird for a spell, but when played, you can put this minion in your active minion slot. When it's killed by your opponent, it doesn't gain any points. This may not attack. Basically, you just use this training dummy to stall for time. And in a deck where you don't even need to kill things to win, all you need to do is just draw cards and have a minion up in your active slot. Training dummy can stall for time, which is really strong. Now, another cool card is a white card from set 2 also. Kipple, Ancient Guardian. 150 health, which is amazing. For 2 cost and 50 attack, which is okay. But its ability score is really cool. It says, once per turn, look at the top 2 cards of your main deck. You may put one of them in your hand and the other one in the discard pile. So basically, you can just use this to cycle through your deck and find the cards you need to as soon as possible, also while drawing cards. So Kipple Ancient Guardian is also another cool card you could add eventually. So thank you guys so much for watching if you stuck through the whole video. And also, if you like the content I make, please subscribe. We're almost to 900 subscribers, which would be really cool if we could hit that sometime soon. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching, and goodbye.